Hello, it is Friday the 19th of September. The time, of course, is 10 past tomorrow, and today I'm going to talk about the fact that working with data and spreadsheets just changed forever. Until last week, using AI to build work with data and spreadsheets was about as useful as asking your cat to do your taxes. But now, though, with Claude by Anthropic, you can produce and edit and refine multi-tab data sets with hundreds of formulas and crisp formatting and charts and graphs all in minutes. Now that in itself is a lot to unpack, and we will, but please don't be mistaken as to what this video essay is really about today. This isn't just a new feature release from Claude. It's actually, in my opinion, one of those AI shockwaves that hit us every now and then, and it's a really clear marker that a huge part of so many people's work, people who work with data and spreadsheets, that work has crossed another line with AI. So first of all, to summarize what's actually happened here, Claude can now generate Excel workbooks, Word reports, PowerPoint decks, and PDFs directly from your prompts. And the quality is exceptional. But I want to be clear that out of all those file formats, Excel, Word, PowerPoint, and PDFs, Excel is the real headline act here. Because over the past few years, the ability to work powerfully and reliably with numbers and data has been one of the most consistent things that individuals and companies and organizations that I work with have been waiting for from AI. In fact, I'd go so far as to say that for many people and organizations whose roles are data focused, they have been begging for this type of capability. And now we have it with Claude. Well, we almost have it at the moment, because the capabilities that I'm going to describe to you just now, actually right now they're only available for organizations that have an enterprise account with Claude. However, in their release notes, they signaled that these capabilities will very soon be available for even those of us just with the Pro account, which costs $20 US per month. Nevertheless, what I'm seeing at the moment is many top-tier AI commentators who I follow and I trust, who have early access to these features from Claude, are calling this a superpower in its work with data and spreadsheets. And for good reason, as far as I can see. One prompt can deliver an Excel workbook with linked tabs, formulas linked across tabs, hundreds of formulas, named ranges, data validation, scenario toggles, charts, graphs, tables, and it doesn't, of course, just stop at creating new data sets from fresh. Claude can refine and edit your existing Excel or CSV files until they look and behave like something that you'd expect from a week-long build from a human analyst. For those of you who are wondering, and there will be many of you, I'm sure, wondering about the privacy of the data that you're working with, Claude runs the code that it uses to do its data work in a private sandbox. So it can analyze all of your data and apply the formulas and package the results up for you safely and privately. So here are some example use cases that I've been watching over the past 6 days now since these features were released that demonstrate the scale of the leap that these new Claude data features are giving us. So I've seen someone build a revenue plan model, which is a 12-month forecast across multiple products with growth drivers and discount logic and a sensitivity analysis. So you can adjust the formulas and adjust the whole model, all wrapped up with not just the Excel file, which had multiple tabs, but also a clean summary PowerPoint to explain the whole revenue model. I've seen an ops scheduling workbook be created, which had capacity planning like across different shifts within the organization, exception flags, a dashboard that the managers could see to judge where overload was happening throughout the shift schedules, and then a short decision memo, they called it, which was also created as a Word document. And so then I also saw the third example, which really impressed me, was like a marketing model, which did acquisition funnel analysis, lifetime value by channel, cost acquisition payback calculations, visual trends and analysis, and again a 2-page overview in Word. And that Word document had some seriously impressive charts and graphs in it too. So I think for those of us, any of us who have ever lost days or time to a broken spreadsheet and having to operate within, deep spreadsheets, Claude has just probably released some of that PTSD from our collective psyches. A lot of that deep, hard work within data sets and spreadsheets will now be done for us and with us with these tools. So the promise here from Claude is being able to do hours of data analyst time reduced into minutes. And yes, of course, we always need to check the numbers, check the output, verify the AI's work. But all the commentary so far that I'm seeing from these top AI commentators is that the base quality is staggering right out of the box. But I said this is not just a story about the ability for AI to work with data and spreadsheets. The bigger picture that I want to comment on is what I call the step change effect of AI. And it's something that I wish that every business and knowledge worker was more cognizant of. So the step change effect of AI refers to the extraordinary pace with which this technology is developing, but not just the pace, but the fact that it's happening in gigantic leaps, which quite literally happen overnight for us here in New Zealand, because while we're sleeping in our time zone, these things are released in the States, right? And so the step change effect talks to the fact that AI is not progressing linearly like a tech like Microsoft Word, where you could skip the first 20 years of the technology and you could probably catch up in a day. Nor does it, AI's not even following an exponential curve, really, like solar technology, for example, where you could re-enter after decades and then still make sense of things while it's ramping up. AI moves in these massive step change jolts, sudden, big, sharp step changes. And what we're talking about today is a prime example, because literally last week, spreadsheet work, spreadsheet logic with AI assistance was laughably bad. Today, now, Claude can generate a multi-tab model that would impress an MBA team, right? So over the past few years, we've seen that exact same pattern happen time and time again with text and image and video and audio and code generation. And now it seems it's the turn of computation and deep mathematical analysis. But the problem with this step change jump in the technology is that human adoption doesn't leap in sync, right? Our skills and our processes and our human governance crawl at a human pace, while AI capabilities are just rocketing ahead. And so this is what I call the AI capability adoption gap. It's this ever widening space actually at the moment between what the tools can do, their incredible potential, and what people are ready to use them for, right? And so the AI ladder keeps adding these rungs at an astonishing rate, and every delay, when people are delaying getting on the ladder, it makes it harder to climb because the gap between these rungs is widening and the pace that the rungs are being added to the ladder is ever increasing. Hope you could follow that ladder metaphor. It's the first time I've tried to use it. So for individuals like early adopters who are already on that ladder, they're banking the gains in the speed and the accuracy as these tools develop because they're already there. They're already working with the tools. For leaders, if you're a senior leader of an organization, if you can carve out time within your company, within your organization for learning, for people to learn and set expectations for your people to be developing with these tools, those are the people and the organizations that will reduce their risk and capture value when these step changes, like we're seeing with Claude this week, come along. So indulge me a little bit, because I'm going to speculate on what this is going to look like when Claude's spreadsheet superpowers move from the enterprise accounts, which are $200 a month US, to the broader pro tier, which is $20 US a month. And therefore, what I'm saying is these very soon, I would imagine within weeks, these features are going to become democratized for all of us. So I'm picturing things like a finance team drafting budgets, but through conversation, through natural language prompting, not through deep cell by cell manipulation, right? Or a project manager who's adjusting a resource plan live, middle of the meeting, again, through prompting. Or a board pack, because I've said these things, the same as part of these features updates. It's not just Excel capabilities and CSV file capabilities. It's Microsoft Word, it's PowerPoint, it's PDFs as well. So board packs assembling themselves accurately, visually, ready for making decisions. So I think some scenarios we can expect to see is like a radical disruption of what it means to be a finance team. CFOs should, rather than having to wait for scenario planning and manipulation from the data that used to be provided by a data team, a CFO herself might be able to run those scenarios like immediately. Operations teams being able to manipulate supply chain scenarios and what ifs and scheduling plans, generating those instantly. Freeing up more time for those managers to focus on the judgment of the operations rather than the data wrangling. Strategy. It's incredible to think what strategy teams are going to be able to do now. Compiling masses of data and pulling from like transaction data and benchmarks and data commentary. I'm maybe getting into the weeds a little bit here, but what I'm saying is that these step changes that I'm talking about, they don't just reshape efficiency within tasks and organizations, they actually completely shift the underlying expectations of how we do our tasks and our jobs. So the other thing is you can count on the fact that these capabilities, although now they've just been released by Claude, I would imagine within a couple of months, if not weeks, these very same capabilities will be deployed by the other frontier AI tools like ChatGPT and Google Gemini, etc. So I think it's worth starting now, imagining what your data and document creation work is going to be like once this superpower lands very soon for you. So look, in summary, this is a leap so massive that even the best and the most seasoned AI commentators that I follow are amazed. I, for one, can't wait to get my hands on these new Claude features once they come down to my pro account. But please, I want to reinforce this essay is not just about an AI tool that suddenly has superpowers for working with data and PowerPoints and Word docs. I'm trying to say something bigger, much bigger, which is step changes like this in AI explain why the capability adoption gap keeps widening, right? Each time AI takes one of these giant leaps forward, it redefines the baseline for what's possible for people, but especially people who are already moving with AI, right? The gap between those who are ready and those who are waiting it's growing wider. And that worries me because it's happening much faster than most people realize. And my mission is to spread AI literacy and skill set as far and wide, as broadly and deeply across New Zealand as possible. So while these step changes are exciting, incredibly exciting, they also concern me. So Look, the future isn't waiting politely for people to catch up. The AI future, it's coming at us suddenly in step changes, whether we're ready or not. So I think it's worth considering. Not only what are you going to do with these new capabilities within data and spreadsheet work, but please have a think about when the next step change hits in AI. Are you going to be one of the people stumbling to catch up with it, or are you already running to be able to move with it? So as always, if this topic has resonated or it's hit a nerve or it's caused any other thoughts and reactions, I'd love to hear about them in the comments below or over on my LinkedIn page.